What's going on, you guys? Laxo here again. Okay guys, so the one question on everybody's mind that I've been asked over and over and over for the past, well, ever since Byakuya was released, is who is better? Byakuya or Tensazangetsu? So this video, I'm going to go ahead and go over the major differences between the two. I'm going to go over their kits, and of course I'm going to show you battles, best case scenarios of each character, more so best case scenario of Tensazangetsu. So without further ado, I'm going to, of course at the end, I'm going to let you guys decide whoever you think is better. However, I will give my opinion, but that's completely subjective. So, and that's just my opinion too, so it's not fact. Anyways, let's go ahead and check out the skills of Tensazangetsu right here. Okay, so mastery skill, we don't really get Tensazangetsu for his mastery skill, let's be honest. But ignores defense, that's pretty much all it does, and bleed. Rage skill, this is the big boy right here. This is what everybody wants to know. Okay, deals damage to all targets, to all enemies, deals additional damage to immobilized targets equal to 60% of Tensazangetsu's attack, and additional damage to targets whose HP is lower than 70%, equal to 60% of his attack. If any target's HP is lower than 50% following this attack, Tensazangetsu deals additional damage to the target equal to 30% of his attack. So, the one thing you guys need to know is immobilized targets is anything that is entangled, stunned, frozen, anything that is pretty much stun locking the target so they cannot do anything that round. Okay, let's check out his passive real quick. Whenever Tensazangetsu attacks, he gains increased crit chance for each immobilized enemy character. If the HP of any targets is lower than 40%, after Tensazangetsu releases his rage skill, all allies gain increased 15% damage rate for one round. And of course, this increases his crit chance by a base 22.7%. So, his base crit, without a crit Warsaw on him, is about 51% base crit. However, he does get even more crit chance if characters are immobilized. So, let's go ahead and take a look at Byakuya's kit really quickly. I've already been over this plenty of times, but really quickly, let's go through this. Okay, his rage skill deals damage to all enemies plus additional damage equal to 40% of Anniversary Celebration. Byakuya's attack to enemies with bleeding. This inflicts bleeding to all targets for 2 rounds. Gain stacks of Hado. We're not going over Hado in this video. Byakuya has increased attack at the beginning of combat. Gains 2 stacks of Hado when Hado stacks to a maximum. He gains... Okay, cool. So, the one thing we're looking at here on this skill is the fact that when a target is already bleeding, he does additional damage to that target. It's only 40% of his actual attack, though. So, let's go ahead and take a look at his attack. His attack is 257. 40% of that, let's just say, is 110k. Okay, I'd say that's pretty close to 40%, maybe 120k. So we're doing that to all the targets on the field. So let's just say 700k extra damage to all the targets. However, you also have to take damage reduction into play. So that 700 is probably going to go down to about 400%. Or 400 damage, or 400k to each character on the field. So that's actually, I apologize, that's 400k total. And that's pretty giving. I'd probably say it's probably closer to 350k extra damage to all the characters in the field. And that is Byakuya's raging first round, so the only way to get that off first round is to put Nell on the team. However, the problem with putting Nell on Byakuya's team is if you do that, you won't be able to have him for his own team, and you're taking Nell out of her own team. So that is the major problem about that. Is it's not very much damage, but you're pretty much ruining an entire team for World Championship if you do this. So in my opinion, it is not worth taking a whole character out of a different team and ruining that team just to put Byakuya on a team. Anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at some battles here. Alright, so I'm going to show you two battles here. Both battles are literal best case scenarios for Tensazangetsu. So the way to really take advantage of Tensazangetsu is to, one, immobilize every target on the field. So again, they're stunned, they're frozen, and tangled, and then they have to be below 50% health, and you get the absolute maximum damage out of him. So, as you can see, I am slowly whittling down the entire enemy team, and they are all immobilized except for Orihime up at the top. So as you can see, pretty much every character now is below 50% health. Tensazangetsu is getting his rage on. 3.9 million damage. Absolute best case scenario. Absolute best case scenario. Now, granted, everyone else on the team does have 15% increased damage. So let's go ahead and take a look at one more battle here of absolute best case scenario. Alright, once again, this is going to be a best case scenario battle here. So, we are working on getting all the characters frozen and stunned. We have 4 characters frozen. So he's getting that additional damage on 4 of the characters, however they're all below 50% HP. So 5.1 million. Again, absolute best case scenario, you're getting 5 million damage out of him. And on top of that, I also wanted to take a look at the actual team comp here. So if you're looking at his team comp, he has 1, 2, 3, 4. He has 4 skill specialty characters, so we're getting that extra damage on 4 of those 2 characters. I apologize, 4 of those 6 characters we're getting bonus damage because of them being skill specialty and Tensazangetsu being attack specialty. Also, I forgot to mention that in this soul hall, that we don't have him on an actual soul hall. We're just giving him the benefits of the other 2-man soul halls. So, which is 10% attack, 10% damage, and 15% crit chance, and 20% crit strength. And on these next battles where I'm going to take a look at, I am not going to have this soul hall for Byakuya. Alright, so with this battle, I actually did put Nell in there just for giggles. And other than that, Byakuya really has no setup at all. He just kind of goes. 3.2 million damage, which is very good. But the difference between Tensazangetsu and Byakuya is Tensazangetsu requires all the setup. Byakuya, you just throw in there and he goes. And of course, both have pretty strong late games as well because they get low. Byakuya has 6 stacks, and on Tensazangetsu team, the enemy team just gets low. So, they both have their ups and downs. Let's go ahead and maybe take a look at one more battle here. Also, you had to take into consideration that battle that Byakuya only had 1 crit. Tensazangetsu has 6 crits, and he still did 3 million damage. So, without setup, Byakuya is doing 5 to 6 million damage if he gets all crits. With Tensazangetsu, it's quite the opposite. He needs setup, and he needs to get crits to do that big damage. Alright, so once again, on this battle, it's pretty much the same thing. I have Nell in there just to give him that extra little bit, whatever, couple 100k of damage. He got 1 crit, still did 2.4 million damage. If he had 6 crits, it would have been probably about 4 million damage. So, moving back over to the actual characters here, we have to look at how I have them. I have Byakuya with just a blue weapon. He's not super built. And of course, we have to look at his stats here. I have Byakuya at 15% attack here and 10% attack here. So Byakuya only has 25% attack. I think at best he'll probably have around 30% attack, with, of course, a blue weapon. Tensazangetsu, on the other hand, is quite different. He actually has 40% attack on this side, and he has another 10% attack on this side. So altogether, he has 50% attack. And also on top of that, I have him with a purple weapon. So he gets that extra 7.5% damage. And also for the War Souls, I have War Soul the Ion Tensazangetsu because he's already guaranteed crits. So getting that extra 60% ignore defense on every character is actually really huge for him. Moving back over to Byakuya here, I have, of course, my basic setup with no crit on him, just extra crit damage and extra damage with a bleed. However, of course, Byakuya does have 57% crit chance. So he has a pretty high crit chance, but of course, that also has to take into consideration the crit resist chance on the enemy team. And even then, no crits are actually guaranteed. And also the last thing I want to look at here is the fact that Tensazangetsu was released day 271 in this game. 271. So less than a year into this game, Tensazangetsu was released. However, Byakuya is what? Day 720 was released in this game. And also, Byakuya you can get right now on whatever server 842, I think is the newest server out. You can get Byakuya right now. Tensazangetsu, however, you have to wait all the way till day 271 to get him. And last but not least, of course, I didn't mention this before. I said I wouldn't mention it earlier when I was looking at Byakuya skills, is of course Hado number 6. When you get Hado number 6 off, essentially it doubles all your damage from base crit. So base crit, 6 base crits from Byakuya, I said would have been around 5 million damage. This would have been hitting for easily 10 million damage. Best case scenario for Byakuya, he would be getting off 10 million. But of course, I don't want to actually consider that because that's really, really late game. We're talking who gets the best out of their kit immediately. And with that being said, I would probably have to give the push to probably Byakuya. Why? Again, because he requires no setup. It's just get up and go damage. You can put him on any team, anywhere. And the slight buff he does get, which is from bleed, is minuscule at best. However, also considering you can get Byakuya right now. You can get Byakuya right now, released in the game, server 1. Well, server 1 meaning the server that was just released, you can get Byakuya. Tensazangetsu, however, you have to wait a really, really long time to get to if you're brand new to the game. And on top of that, it requires all of the setup in the world to get the most out of Tensazangetsu. So with that being said, that's just my opinion. My opinion is pretty much useless to anybody else except for myself. So what do you guys think? Of course, let me know in the comment section what you guys think. Once again, this is just my opinion. And, of course, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, of course. Anyways, you guys, that's going to do it for this one. If you think I'm completely wrong and out of my mind, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I don't mind whatsoever. If you guys would like me to, because I've been thinking about possibly comparing, because I've also had a lot of questions of which anniversary character is the best, Byakuya or Aizen. Both characters are pretty strong. But anyways, guys, once again, that's going to do it for this one. If you guys haven't already subscribed, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. If you guys learned anything, or just liked the video in general, smash that like button. I would appreciate it. And once again, if you think I'm an idiot, feel free to let me know in the comment section. If you guys would like to ask me anything, hit me up in the comment section. And of course, I will see you guys in the next one.